Hello, and today's retro tech video is this interesting Supersonic black and white portable television that I picked up on a second-hand market some months ago over in Spain. It's I just saw it there and I had to get it. It cost next to nothing. They just wanted to get rid of it. It was a piece of junk as far as they're concerned. But for me, oh, it's brilliant. Tape recorder, FM stereo, radio, and TV. First, I was very happy to see it actually fires up and works. As you can see here, the screen itself is working, showing static at the moment. There's obviously no signals out there at the moment to actually watch any television on there because everything's switched to digital, but never mind. The radio certainly works, that's playing along pretty happily. And the tuner works. It's an FM stereo and it has two speakers, but the left-hand speaker is crackling a little bit, especially as I sort of turn the volume control and the tuner. There's not much great out on the radio out here in Spain, but maybe we should have a look at the dry solder joints there on the volume control and the left speaker. Let's give the cassette tape a whirl. I don't have an audio tape, but I've got a Spectrum tape which is playing awful noise. Oh, only one spindle's spinning there. That means something bad's happening. Oh yes, it's a mangler. It's it's just feeding the tape straight into the machine. The motors are working though, and it was sounding okay, but that's gonna need some work. Yeah, that's broke. So, going back to the screen, let's even get something on there. It takes a mono 3.5mm jack for an external antenna input in there. Now, going back to the Spectrum was an old machine, and look, we have a TV output which should work with it, which is an RF connection. So, I don't have the cable, that's two cables. So I think it's time to make the cable and sacrifice two cables just to see if we can get this thing to work. It would be really good if we can get a picture, and then hey, I could use it on the 48K Spectrum, and I could have a real portable solution here. Hey, even if it is black and white, it doesn't matter. So chop the cable there with a pair of pliers. Yeah, it wasn't really chopping it with that. So I got the wire cutters, and we're now time-lapsing through this bit because when it comes to soldering and electronics, I am absolutely no expert whatsoever. So I'd rather just whiz through this bit as I just tint the ends there to put the cable together. And yeah. As long as it sticks together and doesn't short out, as far as we're concerned for testing, that's all that really matters for now. Bit of black tape just to make sure both ends don't touch. And job's a good one. We basically made a 3.5mm mono to a RCA phono wire for this TV. So with the old Spectrum powered up and ready to go, with a normal RF cable for the Spectrum, let's just check that it's happy and showing a signal on a working TV. Just tuning that into channel 2 there. I've got the old Commodore 64 on number 1. Seems to have picked up the signal, and store that in there nicely. And there we go, the glorious ZX Spectrum start screen. I was going to type something funny in here, but I couldn't think of anything. So here we go. Let's plug in the new cable into the portable TV, and let's see if we can get anything from it. The other end is already plugged into the Spectrum by the means of video editing, and you use the same tuner as for the radio, just to scan the bands manually. And it's not looking too good. Interestingly, we've seen the lines. Those wiggly lines are definitely Spectrum lines. Brings back lots of memories. And also interesting as well, if I hit the reset on the Spectrum, I'm seeing the lines changing. So there's some picture getting through there, but certainly nothing that's stable, that's gonna hold on in there. So yeah, that's not working. So the idea I had was, let's switch the cable over, the polarity of the cable. Basically, before we'd just do plus to plus and negative to negative. Maybe it's the other way around for some reason. It's a 2-minute swap over, especially when you're time lapsing on a video. Just to switch that around there, just to see whether that will bring a picture through or not, before we try anything else too drastic. So yeah, pulled it all apart, resolder, redo it all again properly, and yeah, let's give this another try. So we've got the line still. In fact, it really doesn't seem to have made any difference whatsoever. That's probably a little bit less of a signal there, I don't know, but certainly nothing stable, nothing holding on there. So that leaves us at a bit of a loss. Comments below if you've got any ideas. I will try this on the C64, but in the meantime, to console my sadness of not getting a signal to the portable telly, let's have a go with Dizzy on the Specky, seeing as it's all fired up and raring to go. I remember this being a C64? No, a 48K mode game. So we run into there, and the old sound of the tape loading. It's like music to my ears. It's brilliant. I used to love the sound even back then. This was a magazine version, and it was very interesting that, as you can see, from your Sinclair, they actually gave away the whole game when it was a full commercial game. So I imagine it was a couple of years later from it being released, but interestingly, it has a helpline number at the bottom for if you're stuck on the game, which was a premium rate number at the time. So maybe that's how they made their money on it. And there we go, the old bleep speaker going there, and the first Dizzy game by Codemasters, brilliant. Right, so next video, I think we're gonna strip down that TV and try and find out more about it. There's no reference to it on the internet whatsoever. There's similar ones. It's probably some cheap Chinese knockoff, which is why there's no reference to it. Never heard of this company before. So we'll see if there's anything on the circuit boards. Try and fix up the left speaker, resolder some bits without making it any worse, and see if we can get a signal input to it. And until then, bye.